What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia? Darling, I'm just so fed up with these expectations. They keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head. I'm gonna live inside the upside down for a minute and pretend, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, whoa, and if I say it enough, it gets ingrained in my head, and I start to see, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a, yeah. Yeah, I'm disgusted with myself, and I'm disgusted with the way we're told to have a certain face. I stood and wait because we aren't pixels on a screen. No, we're human, we breathe. Every single thing we see curated, it's overrated. These expectations, they keep weighing me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head. I'm gonna live inside the upside down for a minute and pretend, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, and if I say it enough, it gets ingrained in my head, and I start to think, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a, yeah.
that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. we got so intense.
Get down to the baseline.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I'm J-Wigs, and welcome to what is going to be a rather long stream. And boy, my camera is a little bit tall. Let's bring that down just a tad bit. Just a little bit. A little more, maybe. There we go, that's perfect. Right, strap yourself in. It's gonna be a wild ride while I attempt to go through the rest of the points of interest submissions that we've got. There's around 45 of them. I haven't counted, and we are gonna go right into it. I've got my cup of water here, which I'm going to need to refill because that is most definitely not enough water for tonight. And we've got my points here. I've got my pencil. I've got my pencil somewhere here. I've got my pencil. Make sure everything is in order. I need to quickly disable that. We need to, let's go right. Let's hop right into Discord. You know how it's going to work. Basically, I will be reading your submissions, which is at this point mostly going to be Prime, because Prime have submitted a lot after this point, and I'm going to be giving it 1 point to 3 points based on what I think of the submission, how much I like it. Completely subjective. You might think it's better than or worse than I rate it, and that's totally fine with me. This is completely subjective. Yeah, this is going to be a long one. I'm giving this around 3 hours. I'm giving this one around 3 hours, which is why I've started a little bit earlier than normal, because this could be a long one. Right, I'm gonna be giving out 1 to 3 points. After that, I will be converting all of these points, and we'll be giving you blocks for your factions to use in the faction war. Still not entirely sure how faction war is going to work out. I'm working on the final details, especially as the current enemies and items update is coming together. Well, for those of you who don't know, we're going to be having the big update drop for everyone else, not just the testers, in the next few days. So I'm kind of excited for that. But without further ado, let's get right into it. This is completely subjective, so you're saying that you're going to be Prime biased. No, I'm not. I really do my best not to be biased. And sometimes, well, as someone has pointed out earlier, sometimes I'll be biased in one way or another, but I feel it will all pan out in the end. The slight intrinsic biases that I may have will eventually all pan out. Right, let's get right into it with our first submission, because if not, we're going to be here I'm going to be here literally all night, which I definitely don't want to. I like my precious sleep. Right, the first submission is by Cheesy Pizza, and it is, oh wow, it is the Grand Industrial Complex of Zakzepizik. That's a fancy name. Or the GICO Triple Z. On the far southwest of the Prime Capital Zone territory, not far from the borders lies a chain of islands, a land that was entirely bought out by now one of the richest Prime businessmen, Zakzepizik. I see. So this is a dude that we have to keep in mind. He's an entrepreneur who started his career trying out various things like photography, art, news agency, transport. He's seen highs and lows but never got desperate. At one point, he decided to take a big risk, having amassed somewhat of a fortune and taking a loan from the Prime Monetary Reserve. He decided to buy an entire island. That may not seem impressive at first, since rich people have islands of their own, but this one was not your average small island. This big island capable of sustaining an entire huge city. Of course, it's not the biggest island in the Prime territory, not even in the top 7. It's slightly smaller than the Novus Orbis, which is probably another island we'll see, and similarly has a bunch of smaller islands around it. The main difference, however, is that it wasn't a natural paradise, but instead a natural vein of wonders. This later justified the risk Triple Z took and above and beyond. Oh, well above and beyond, making him who he is now. On that island and later bought out nearby islands, he ordered the construction of the GICO Triple Z, currently the biggest heavy producer in all of the Prime, using its mineral-rich resources. Okay, so Triple Z dude, Zach Zepi, he bought this island because of its resources, and it produces exceptional materials like thorium, which makes silverware of Argentinum sterling silver, or SASS. Oh, cute. It uses 1 chromium, 18 nickel, 9 titanium for things like pipes, tools, and infrastructure details exposed to nature. Okay. Isn't thorium radioactive, though? I believe thorium's radioactive. It makes other real-life heavy industrial materials, but we don't J-Wigs to go through Wikipedia all night just to know what you're talking about. GICO Triple Z has a main thorium refinery, a factory producing webium, which is a reinforced carbonate material similar to diamond that's made into powerful elastic cables. Okay, cool. And a prototype facility trying to create mechanical islands. Wow. Very fancy. Very, very fancy. I'm giving this one, I like Triple Z over here, Zach Zepi, so I'm giving this one a 2. Yeah, I believe thorium is radioactive. I'm not sure why you would produce materials like thorium. Let me double check that. I believe thorium's radioactive. I do want to, I'm fairly interested in this. Thorium, yeah, it's a radioactive metallic element. I believe, because I saw someone's senior thesis from my school where basically they proposed to use thorium to power nuclear reactors, I believe. Something like that. Prime and Triple Z, yeah, I like it. It's very cool, even though, I mean, we've got webium, which I'm going to write down here as well. I'm basically writing down all of these cool and extra, I'm not sure if this is an actual, is this an actual thing? Anyway, we're going to have to move on. I think I'll spend 3 minutes maximum on each of this. And even then, it'll be 2 hours long. So I'll spend 3 minutes max. Right, next one we have is Zordius Prime, which is, oh, I see, Magician they already use thorium on newer nuclear reactors. That's cool. Next we have Zordius Prime, which is the capital city of the Prime Federation. Cool name, and I see its Magician has taken it upon himself to come up with the capital, which I do know. I have read some of the future submissions with alterations to this capital, so we'll see how prime it is at the end of this stream. Right, capital city of the Prime Federation. A name from the language of distant times roughly translates as the beginning or the first city, is an ancient capital of the Prime Federation, formed back in the time when long forgotten when the tribes came together to ensure the security from hardship they faced at a historic event they at the time called the Great Unity. I like it. Eventually, when the Great Unity expanded and became what is now known as the Prime Federation, the first city was renamed into Zordius Prime. I like it. In time, people have forgotten the date when it happened and the loss in force, and this loss enforced one of the key principles of Prime, the value of legacy, a principle that was important but now was ever more so enforced. Zordius Prime is located on the great Titan island of Plasmodion. Okay, hard to pronounce. An island features modest variety of nature from forested areas to the great south of XP, which is Zordius Prime, the Great Lakes slightly up north, the meadows with small rural villages to the east and west, and a swampy area on the far northern side of the island. XP started out as a small wood and leather village, but as the prosperity of the Prime was rising, it has seen waves of reconstruction. Over the course of history, it became the city of contrast, having ancient, grand architecture side by side with modern skyscrapers. In the golden age built with comfort and convenience in mind, you can find most of its districts having wide open roads, grand architecture of the highest art organization levels you'd see anywhere in IIsla, featuring libraries, academies, I almost said academies, I don't know what I'm saying, featuring libraries, academies, museums, statues, and parks in high abundance in the later ages inspired by the events of the time. Some bolder designs came to be, some can be described as towering spires, some as layered attraction. Of course, built with the safety in mind, Zordius Prime has quite a moderate defense capability. Overall, the general spirit of the city and its people isn't about showing off, but just being decent and good. The Prime way. I love it, I love it. And for your capital, I am giving you 3 for that. That's a lovely written capital. It's interesting how the island and the city are named two different. You would think that the city that island's built on would refer to the island as well. I found that rather interesting as well. I love the backstory behind all of this, and I've been writing some of the history behind all of the factions, not all, most general, all of the factions, and I like this history behind the Prime Federation, having a bunch of tribes coming together to ensure security from the hardship they face at an event called the Great Unity. Very, very cool. Very, very nice. Let's move on. The next one is by Balkanator, and this one's the Long Road. Ooh, Long Road. That's interesting because skies, road. I guess we've got highways. I guess we have highways, but I'm not sure how you're going to work with this road. Okay. Let me grab some water. The most prominent Prime territories can be described as the capital zone and 2 further outreaches. Okay, so you've got this capital zone, which is all your important stuff, and then 2 further outreaches. And while one of those is rather close and connected, the other, though bigger, is much further away. There are 2 main trade routes connecting this High Reach to the capital zone. High Reach? Where's High Reach? Okay. A safe and short connecting 2 well-established cities and a long and dangerous. Oh, okay, there's 2 routes connecting both of them. This is a story of the trade route. This is the story of that route. Okay, so there's a short route, there's a long, dangerous one, and then there's a safe and short one. I'm not sure why you'd take a long and dangerous one. Yes, I see someone just ping me in the chat. The Long Road is supposed to be a reference to the Silk Road? Possibly? Anyway, it starts with the Traveler's Brace, a convergence of traders selling various goods for those who dare to venture the Long Road. A place filled with islands of various sizes, selling everything from food to weapons, mercenary islands offering their protection, and sometimes a military convoy. Every now and then a madman will begin their journey on the Long Road. The first of many problems is that the route is located on the neutral territory between the borders to strike from north and south. Often both factionless pirates and definitely not strike military corsairs would attack the traders taking the Long Road. In light of this, important convoys with classified okay, I see, you're doing that, you're pulling classified on me, have high military support and sometimes a heavy armed Prime agent massing their islands as a lone trader to bait and destroy the perpetrators. Entering the borders of Prime again, the other hardships begin. First, the road goes through a huge desert island with no way to replenish supplies. After that, the traveler has to carefully navigate through the dangerous row of islands featuring fearsome Kunibe Wanachi and occasional Serbovine Watcher. If the madman who took the road survived after all these hardships, he'll finally reach the end of the road, a small chain of vital villages due to the difficulty known as the Journey's End, which is located near one of the most fortified Prime border forts, the Dare Line Fortress. I assume we might hear some of these later as well. Of course, the journey back is just as perilous, but that's another story. It's supposed to be a reference to Judge Dredd. I don't even know what Judge Dredd is. And not Silk Road. I don't get why a Judge Dredd, which I'm assuming is some sort of judge show with the dude with the gavel talking in like a civil court or a small court claim, has anything to do with the Long Road. But it's a cool idea. I'm giving this one a 1. Very nice. Even though I don't get why. See, I think most of these islands, if they're floating, I don't understand how or why you would need to go through a, where was I saw a desert somewhere. I saw a desert. Yes, navigating through a huge desert. I don't understand why an island needs to navigate through a large desert. I mean, you just kind of go around it instead of needing to go through. Or above it or below it. There's a lot of ways around it. Right, next one is the I need to figure out a way to say this. The Plasmadian. I'm just calling this a Plasmadian Lakes and the Yonder Eber Resorts. Okay, so this is I guess just outside I can't remember the Prime's capital city, which is the Zordius Prime. This is just outside of Zordius Prime. And okay, player, a set of Great Lakes. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. A set of Great Lakes and small rural towns located south to Zordius Prime. Oh, there it is. Although called resort, it actually isn't one. It's more of a vacation spot. There are some villages around that place, some rural towns, but just as well, there are decorated vacation houses for the people of Zordius coming up to rest near the nature, maybe tend a little Eber hive as their hobby. Regardless, the locals are very considerate of the nature of the Great Lakes, and Prime sees it vital to tend to and keep it clean. At the same time, fishing and hunting is not prohibited, meaning it's allowed. But you have to get a license for that. Don't overstate the quota and only do it at a certain time of the season. I feel like Discord's spacing is really throwing me off. How it's all of the lines are really short together. So I'm kind of messing up. Maybe I need to space things out more. It's south, not north. Just the typo. I don't see where you were referring to south and north. Anyway, while you see fishing being quite popular, hunting is rare for people mostly to come to player to relax, to have fun. Why is it called player? I don't get it. Why is player constantly being mentioned? Is that... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Player, really? It's nicknamed Player? Okay, I see what you did there. Oh my goodness. Oh, Player consists of 4 Great Lakes. I'm not a big fan of Player. If you called it the Plasmadian Lakes, that would be cool, and Yonder Eber Resorts, now I see why that word Yonder just pops up in a name. No one uses Yonder to name things. Player consists of four Great Lakes and many smaller ones interconnected between each other via small river and underground passages. To the north of the Player is the Palace Swamp. Nature in Player region is full of meadow hills and small forests harboring many small creatures and some herbivores like loons. The Player produces the best alum-related stuff in the world. Not only that, but it also has a higher amount of production done yearly than even the Great Eber facility. That's because it's diverse. It consists of diverse flora and many individual players that make player production output not only higher in numbers but also higher in quality and diversity, kind of like Prime submissions. They are the hobbyists who just tend to their stuff and do a good job for themselves, and that is why the results are so good. Twice a year there are Eber festivals, both in this rural area and in the capital city of Zordius Prime. People showcase all sorts of Eber-related stuff. Local artisans, traveling circus perform various stunts. Overall, the festival feels like an expression of the Prime love towards nature, uplifting the spirits. I'm going to be writing down the Great Eber Festival. What is it? Did it say Great Eber Festival? You know what? I'm adding a great in front of it. This is the Great Eber Festival. And I shall note that it happens twice a year. Wait, this is one. Okay, so this is one submission. Then we've got another submission, right? That's really cool. I am definitely going. I'm going through like 5 minutes per submission, so we're gonna be here all night. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the name. I like the Plasmadian Lakes though, but yeah. Next one we have is the Reach City. After Prime established control of what? Excuse me. After Prime established control over what can be called the Capital Zone, with the farthest outpost being the Twin Harbors, the natural resources of the faction, its hard-working ethic at that time, peaceful relationship with the other factions, and strive to fulfill each citizen potential led to the opportunities for expansion. While the south of the Capital Zone was nearby and proved to be somewhat challenging, it was still accessible. The other side of the Capital Zone seemed to lead to nowhere, that until a brave explorer by the name of Relun Quind. Love Quind, not a big fan of Relu. L and W work great if there's another vowel after it. Quind is cool. Quind is cool. I like Quind. I shall just call him Quind. Discovered a massive island to the east because of how much empty space was between it and the reach. The TH. What's the TH? TH is the Twin Harbors. Wow. There's a lot of names. Quind decided to call the place the Reach, which was later adopted for the region as a whole. As the time went by and the city grew and more settlements were built nearby, eventually some locals were found on the neighboring zones who were willing to join Prime not only for protection, but because they shared values. When the tensions between factions started to rise up, Strike has developed some sort of outpost city in the north part of the region in an attempt to grab a piece of it for themselves. But due to long distance from the Strike borders and general instability, lack of sustainability, as well as Prime's presence, the coalition decided to abandon the outpost. Okay. At this day and age, the Reach City is one of the most prominent trading harbors of the Prime. It serves as a hub for the import of technical, luxurious, and scientific goods from the capital zone to the High Reach cities. Man, all these acronyms and abbreviations are going to come back and bite me. While exports the natural produce peculiarities of the native tribes, rare resources, and rumor has it secret research data collected from the region. Of course, of its local attractions, it has the statue of RQ, which is Relu Quind, which is Quind. And the Pillars of the Reach, the magnificent temple-like plaza, I thought that said pizza for a moment, and a monument to the prosperity, trade, and new discoveries. The island has some forests and mountains harboring different creatures. I like the idea. I like the idea that we've got a trading hub. However, I think the reason why it's a trading hub in IIsla is pretty much the same reason we have trading hubs in our real world, which is based on their position in geography, as well as in IIsla. I would assume it would be because of draft. Draft winds would cause, I mean, if there's certain draft, like I'm thinking Finding Nemo type drafts where there's like a certain like tunnel or a certain like tunnel-like thing of like draft wind that just kind of blows through places. Cities built on those areas would make it really, really accessible for trading. And so yeah, that's a cool idea to have different harbors and trade outposts. Cool idea. There's a lot of names being thrown around. We've got Reach City, we've got Twin Harbors. There's a lot of stuff going on. I like this. Did I give you a rating? I don't think I gave you a rating. I did not give you a rating at all. Plasmadian Lakes, I'm giving you a 1. And the Reach City, I am definitely giving you I'm giving you 2 for that. A strong stream of air which you can guide your island to use basically as a highway, pretty much. Next one we have is the Novus Orbis, which I've seen this name before. Novus Orbis was in the first one somewhere. Novus Orbis. No, I feel like I've seen this name before somewhere. Oh well. Novus Orbis, aka the City of Grandeur, or COG. Oh wow. I thank you so much for bolding all of the words that are important so I can try to recall. Located roughly between Plasmadian and Abraxas, which I'm assuming we'll get to later, lies an island once inhabited by the ancient tribes that moved in to form the Great Union. It was so long ago that the detail was not in the Prime archives. When the Ascendant explorers went to those parts, they rediscovered it. Now, ages later, with views rivaling the natural beauty that of Plasmadian, much smaller in size, but surrounded by the many islands dubbed by the explorers the Lazurite Islands for their beautiful blue beaches. This is about Novus Orbis. The place was a site to hold that those explorers decided to settle in there. Thus, the first ascended town of Novus Orbis was built. The City of Grandeur was one of 2 Prime cities in all Prime territories that has a majority population consisting of Ascended, or the Ascendants. Unfortunately, okay, this was after you all have your submissions, but I'm considering scrapping the entirety of humans, Ascendants, and Tellurians, because the only reason that we would have different races would be if we had different factions consisted primarily of that special race. And so I've decided that I don't want to play with different races fighting each other just because they're a different race, because that very much happens. So we're just going to stick with just humans to keep things nice and simple. But yes, I like the effort put into incorporating the previous lore as well. Races are going to be going just humans now. You can see sleek design in its architecture and more aerodynamic forms in its buildings, blending with the hills and looking harmoniously in the nearby island resorts. If you reach this far into the subs, you have a pretty good picture of the history of Prime territory, so it goes without explanation that the city's a major trade hub. Okay. Vacation spot and tourist attraction for many of its feats of architecture of ascended style, it lies on a major trade route as a monument to grandeur, which is a person, or you're just referencing the idea of grandeur, I guess. A spiral obelisk 169 meters tall, made of gold, giving a city its name, built in part as a statement to the city's prosperity. To the west of the COG, there is the Luncta Sanctuary, while Fujo Casta to the east. Okay. You know, after this, I kind of want a map put together by the Prime of all of their territories, because I'm starting to get a little bit lost, and it will definitely help me after this if you have a map. Or if there's a map already available, just ping me in the faction chat and send it so I can have a good idea of where everything is. We've also got the city is an old friendly rivalry with the Velik Opifex town, as both cities relatively the same age, highly developed in economy and technology, have a high population, many monuments and attraction, both try to rival Zordius for the best city in the Prime Federation. They often hold competition against one another in art and technology. The capital enjoys such rivalry, but rarely takes part in taking more arbiter role. Very nice, very nice. There's a map available. Someone send me the map. Because it would be very nice to picture this as a whole, and definitely bonus points for you guys of creating such an intricate and developed history, as well as cities that mean stuff to each other as well. Did I actually judge the Reach City? Yes, I did. Right. Novus Orbis, City of Grandeur. Thank you very much for this. I will very much. It's an outdated draft. Okay, an outdated draft. I will still take it. And yes, okay. I will have a look at. Okay, got it. So we've got green as Prime over here. We've got some Nova over here as well. And I'm just gonna assume that altitude isn't taken into account in any of this, because it doesn't make sense for a capital city to be directly above a military outpost of another faction. That kind of seems like can't really exist with one another. This is looking, I guess, wait, are these are two sides of, I guess, are these two different? Since races are abolished, try to imagine them as cultural origins. I see. Bonus points are unfair. They did create a massive map, which is definitely above and beyond. Right, so there's the capital. I'm seeing their capital over here. We have, what else do we have? We've got some, I can't exactly read any of these, and I can't exactly zoom in. Okay, so I'm getting a decent idea of all of the Prime territories and how they are looking. Very nice. Some parts have altitude taken into account and is both sides. Okay, very cool, very cool. I see. I mean, no, obviously you weren't filling anything for Nova and Strike, but I'm getting a good idea of what is where, just in general. Okay. Right, where are we? Yes, Novus Orbis. I'm gonna give you 2 points. 1, 2. Very, very nice. You didn't submit anything because you're terrible at creating this stuff. That's unfortunate. Right. I tried doing something not drawing, unfortunately, which you just said you're not good at, because we've had quite a number of drawing challenges recently. Moving on, we have the Grand Desert of Van Lot, which is called the TGD. What's the Oh, the Grand Desert. I see. I thought it'd be like the GDV or something. The TGD. Okay, that's quite a bit. Named so after a daredevil reporter, Van Lot, who made his mission to map extraordinary dangerous place of IIsla. TGD is truly a place for those tired of life, for it has almost none. For those tired of life, where it has none. Okay. You can of course find something that made it, like a barntook snack or some cacti-like vegetation, but not much to sustain a proper ecosystem. The reason for such a harsh environment is quite simple. TGD is almost completely made of sand and stone, and it appears to entirely lack water. The edge of the island is surrounded by mountains, so any moisture the wind blows in gets stuck on the edge and doesn't get into TGD. To make life even more interesting, the mountainous regions as well as the desert sun itself reflects light inwards towards the desert, creating an unbearable heat. Yeah, that's a pain. If you dare venture inside the desert as Von Lot did, you would find there the ruins of ancient rudimentary settlements, giant bones of strange creatures that presumably went extinct, pyramid-like monument of the civilizations long gone, petrified roots of vegetation. Such discoveries provoke a speculation among historians and archaeologists. Some think there was an ancient war in that desert or a natural disaster causing the futile lush island to turn into smoldering heat of a desert. I see. The trade route long road goes alongside TGD. Okay, got it. I got it. I figured out where the long road goes. Okay, it's kind of like in my head, the long road is going north. Am I right about that? Also, I got another ping. I see. Where's the long road? I'm assuming for some reason I feel like the long road's here, but I may not have been paying enough attention to it. Where is TGD? I don't see any TGD. Is that Nope, that's not TGD. Don't exactly see TGD. Yeah, maps are gonna be awesome. Maybe in one of the future challenges coming up soon, we do maps. We make a big map. Except that's kind of like, that's very collaborative. You're definitely gonna have to work with a lot of. It's basically all factions gonna need to work together for that one. But anyway, the trade route long road goes alongside TGD that is located in the High Reach west to Arito Bizo. As the HR, which is the High Reach, became more attractive region, various investors from the Cap Zone and HR itself decided to invest into the region. One investor being Sir Tex, and believing a theory of his archaeologist friend, went for a bold move. He decided in defiance of such a harsh environment, he would make town there right in the desert. In order once again to support TGD into a lush and prosperous island teeming with life. This move was considered controversial within Prime as it infringes the natural state had however its military support. Rumor has it they found water excavated deep under the surface of TGD. The second draft shows a long road as blue. Oh, there's blue. Wait, the long road's a circle? Is that the long road? The second draft. I'm assuming this is your second draft. Where's blue? The long road is a circle? I did not think of that, but I guess so. And I'm assuming, oh man, this really needs some bigger text on it. Anyway, Grand Desert, cool. He'll explain stuff if I'm confused. Yes, well, the only thing is it needs bigger labels. But I could probably zoom in afterwards as well and figure it out. Anyway, Grand Desert, I'm gonna give this one 2 as well. I'm giving this a 2. And right, now we get to find out about the Arito Bitzo. Some of these names are a little bit like Bitzo. B-I-Z-O is not a very fun name to say. Maybe B-I-T-Z-O would make it more T-Z-O. Anyway, A-B, it's the cyan one. It's a, that's not very, I guess that's a long, okay, it connects those two territories. So it connects this territory over here over to there. I see. And I guess I'm not exactly sure. How are we determining north in IIsla? That's a question. That'll be answered another time. I don't have an answer. Next, moving on. We've gone through, I don't know. That looks like 6 submissions, and it has been, well, what's the time? It's been half an hour. Ooh, we're doing awful on time. I think I might need another stream tomorrow, which I don't really want to do because I'd rather get it all over with, but I think we might need to do another stream tomorrow. Arito Bizo, AB, which roughly translates as the land of inevitability by the people native to adjacent lands, is a large group of small to medium islands filled to the brim with natural life and a wandering Kunebe Wanachi. It is located in roughly the middle of the High Reach between Bridge City, Journey's End, Airline, and the Grand Desert. Wow, that's a lot of places. Yet it is sufficient distance from all of the nature not to be disturbed. Sometimes, however, Kunebe Wanachi, the local apex predator, brings trouble to the travelers of the long road, and rare occasion, a Cerbivine watcher enters the area. Okay, I see. The AB, consisting of different islands, has many spots of natural beauty, such as thick forests, grassy fields, some cliffs, and a few small caves. In a fortunate coincidence, when the Prime scientists decided to do research here, a retired long road trader who accumulated wealth throughout the year, began with his old wish of constructing a tourist resort for people to safely observe the creatures and the natural beauty without disturbing it. Let's go to midnight? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not going to midnight. I'm sorry. I really much like my sleep. And my sleep is still all wonky from the game jam, which was like a week ago. I still haven't been able to sleep like past midnight. Thus, recently, the infrastructure, including hotels for visitors and the construction of glass tubes with joints to protect the visitors, have been started. Some islands have been connected with such tubes already. Good morning to you too. Okay. It seems like there's this one seems really general. This one just seems like a really general group of islands, and so that reason I'm going to give this one a 1. Good night. Okay, well, there's people who are waking up in the morning, there are people who are going to bed at night. Time zone talk. Time to reset that time zone counter. Oh dear, that's not what I wanted to do. Ooh, my mouse, a little wonky. Yeah, this one's just rather general. It doesn't seem like there's anything special about it, so I'm giving this one a 1. Right. Up next, we have another Prime, as suspected. This is another Prime's mission. We have the Velic Opifex town, aka the Progress City. Okay, so you've got the City of Grandeur. You have the Genesis City. What was it called? The Beginning City. Your capital is called the Beginning, the First City. Your City of Grandeur. You have First City. You have, what's this next one? The City of Progress. The Progress City. And I guess they're all in the cap zone. Yes, they all look like they're in the cap zone. Okay. Located near the... Ooh, let's scroll up a little so you can read this as well. Located near the southernmost part of the cap zone, it neighbors the Beacon Port from the south, Fort Defender from the east, Great Industrial Complex from the west. PC is one of the 2 rivaling cities competing for the name of the most advanced city in Prime Fed. It can be called a polar opposite to its rival, the Novus Orbis, for almost each aspect of it is very different. Unlike OCOG, PC, which is the Progress City, lays on a much bigger island of Septorium, the second biggest island in all of Prime territory. It's about 30% smaller than that's a Plasmadian. It's one of 2 places where population consists most of Tellurians, going as high as 80%. Right. Actually, you know what we can do? Tellurian is a really cool name. What we can do is we can have them as a name for one of the starting factions. One, or at least one of the because the way I'm framing my lore is there's 25 initial factions, and the reason there are 25, well, the number doesn't matter, but the reason they're called their initial factions is because they all start on a different island, and that's where civilization begins, 25 at a time. So then I guess we've got, and the way I'm reframing it is because thinking about the origins of IIsla, it didn't really make sense for everyone to start together. And certainly there's a lot of different ways they had to overcome their challenges as well. I was writing in the lore that, some of them grabbed ropes, grabbed gliders, and then would fly to other islands back and forth. Others didn't realize they were on an island until much, much later. Others of them got horses or flying horses, stuff like that. Only 25 different islands. You expected more. I'm starting it rather small. I think 25 is enough. Is a good initial starting condition to have to get to the point where we are, where there are 3 main factions, pretty much. And it looks like Prime has already engulfed 3 or 4 of them so far, just with some of the lore you've written. And I guess Tellurians can be a part of those original ones, and I guess as someone said earlier in the chat, it could be a culture. So I'll definitely be taking that into consideration when coming up with the rest of the lore as well. Right. Right. Due to, where were we? We were yes, Tellurians. It's one of 2 places where the population consists mostly of Tellurians, going as high as 80%. Legends say Tellurians originated there, but if it is so, that was in the age before the Great Union. Yep. 25 big islands, but way more smaller ones. Only 24 now. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Oh yeah, it's 24 because you've kind of already took over 2 of them. Due to specific of its population and mountains, locale, PC features a complex of hill villages and the main interconnected town carved inside the mountains with great bridges connecting different peaks and passages inside the mountains. Inside the mountains of the town, it has magnificent architecture filled with grand halls, well lit and supported by great column sites that outshine the vast streets of Zordius. I really like the name Zordius the more I think about it. It does flow off the tongue a little bit. And it does have a nice ring, a nice prime ring to it, Zordius. Parts of the town go above the mountains, some go below down to the bottom of Septorium, featuring docks for the small islands, animals, and crafts on both sides. It is by far the city of peak architecture and engineering in all of IIsla, with numerous monuments to technological craft. Many scholars from all over Prime come to study in local schools to become proficient in the technology. Of items of note, PC and massive has an ancient, massive sculptured entrance featuring 2 giant Silurian statues, thorium refinery on the west side of the island, and great factory producing mechanical wonders, prosthetics, and automatons. What is the next challenger? I do not know either. Whereas COG tries to rival PC by the natural beauty and art, PC clearly tries to have a technological edge. I see. So PC, that's why it's called Progress City, is because it's the technologically advanced. Even though, excuse me, I'm not a really big fan of Progress City as a name. I feel like there's some cool names that we could come up with again. I will not come up with again. There are some cool names that we could come up with instead of City of Grandeur and Progress City. I feel like with some of the other names you've come up with, there's definitely room to just rename this entire city to be a super cool name as well. Other than that, I think it's a decent city. It has history. I'm gonna give this 1. Because it just seems like to me it seems like it's got its perks as being a normal city, but there's nothing quite striking about it, or something. Yes, nothing quite striking about it. But yeah. The next one we have is the Gradon Chord, also known as the Row of Madness or the Passive Insanity. At the furthest northern reach of the capital zone lies a wide row of islands. It spans nearly from the Traveler's Brace all the way up to the Lunctus Sanctuary, which I'm now assuming is some sort of like animal sanctuary. I think the Lunctus were an animal of some sort, with some of the islands reaching to close nearby cities. These islands have pleasant climate and varying nature, but they got their name due to one specific aspect. The northernmost side of this row is the place where nature isn't so nice and welcoming. The wildlife there is more dangerous, feeling cohawks, shrieking eagles, gradions, the birds of madness. They say a traveler would rather take the long road than try to cross the Passive Insanity. Ah, got it. So we've got the long road and we've got but I mean, you can fly, guys. You don't have to walk. Okay, so let's think about it. If only some islands can fly, then obviously there are people who are still using islands. It's like islands are, the thing is, I'm not sure. I guess in modern day, most islands are able to fly. I don't know. I guess, it's an interesting idea. Anyway, what am I talking about? Right. Moving on, as you know, while not the most impressive in its pirate, Gradion tend to produce low-frequency sound that drives people mad, and although the earplugs somewhat help, they may not be sufficient for long road trips. There do live some tribes, and the Prime tend to help them out with their hardships, even offered to move them into better places. Some did, but most preferred to stay in their home islands. To the north of the Row of Madness lies a small pocket of Nova territory, but seeing how an insane attempt would be to cross the Gradion Chord, Prime doesn't bother crossing it. It assumes, perhaps wrongfully, that Nova won't bother either. I mean, it's a dangerous assumption that your enemies are going to trek through the land, because you don't need to. You can fly an island over and then bypass it. So I guess staging armies or positioning islands, like natural disasters, are more things that block your movement instead of just, oh hey, it's a giant mountain, because we can just fly around the mountain and fly around anything that exists on the mountain as well. But yeah, okay, cool idea. Northern Novas try to hunt down the pesky Gradons for causing them trouble as well, but every now and then they run into a Shrieking Eagle, and while a Gradon is a rather harmless animal, Shrieking Eagle is a completely different thing. Often those Gradon hunters are vastly unprepared to deal with an eagle. Yes, absolutely. Aside from the far southern part of the TGC, which is the Gradon Chord, is a much safer place and actually has a different name to the Lazarite Islands. called that for its pretty sea lakes, palm trees, and soft sand beaches filled with pretty cute and wildlife newts. It's cool. It's cool. I like the idea of housing. You know what? I like the idea. I was gonna give it a 1, but because I'm gonna give this one a 2 instead. Because the idea of, you know, having this natural barrier between Prime and Nova, although I don't think it will hold, but I like the idea. I like the history behind it. Very, very nice. Now we get to see the Lunctus Sanctuary. Ooh, and it's a poem. It's a poem. Very nice. Even better. It's a ballad. It's the Ballad of the Living Forest. Okay, I'm looking forward to this very much. We've got a ballad. Up north of the Zordius, past lakes and the swamps, there is a special island beyond. An island borders the Great Encord, an island with a natural bond. Of its many natural wonders that lies in the place with the greatest without any doubt. Magnificent forest, a mythical tree that nowhere in the world can be found. The tree in the question, as you might have guessed, is said to possess a hive mind. Arboreus Iunctus, its scientific name, a rare and peculiar find. They say it's immortal, lives thousands of years. They say that the tree is self-aware. And many more stories you'd hear about that from the people that live over there. They live near forests and say that it helps, provides them with all that they need. To islands it grows, it provides a great care and listens to settlers' heed. They say that it's something like paradise, a place that always has fresh air. When people there starved and were full of despair, the fruits those trees started to bear. Resembles an oak or resembles an elm, perhaps even something like pine. It's constantly changing and nobody cares. They know what it does ends up fine. The eldest of them is that live for so long that people have lost count at all. They say it is vast. They say it's vast beyond measure and rhyme. It's known by the name of Bratal. On one occasion, the Nova and Prime had a conflict about Hivemind Tree. They wanted to study the Novas, but luckily Prime intervened. For reckless desire to study the tree would probably cause it to end. Supporting the locals, the forces of Prime moved forth to disaster pervert. That doesn't rhyme with end. In past 20 years, this has happened before, and Prime didn't want that again. Oh wait, was that supposed to rhyme with end? Anyway, and at northern border of Nova and Prime, enforcement campaign did began. It didn't went far, not much Nova were there, but left an interesting mark. For Sanctuary Lunctus was raised nearby a Hivemind Tree Natural Park. I like this. This one is hands down getting a 3. The effort put into the Ballad of the Living Forest. This is one of my favorite submissions so far because it's unique. It tells history, it gives a location, it tells it whereabouts it is, it tells what's happening there, it's descriptive. This is gotta be my favorite submission so far because it's so unique. Very, very good work, Magician. You know what? I'm gonna give you a gold for that. Which I'm not sure if you'll level up from that, but yeah, very, very unique. I love that one. Out of all of them, this one's my favorite so far. Next one we have the Defender Citadel, aka the Defender Fort, TDF, the Defender Fort. These names are really, really not I mean, they're names for your other things like Septorium, Plasmadion, Fugalcasta, even Bratal, where you clearly have some good names. Just name your cities or your citadels cool names as well. The Defender Citadel's not that. Oh well, I have my problems with it. It will probably change. By the way, those aren't abbreviations that people use. They're just for character economy. Since unlike other factions, we don't do high effort 700 character subs. Okay, not sure what that means. You felt that. This is exactly how advancing on TDF feels like. Okay. Located west of the Progress City, its other mountainous island of formidable size, legend says once upon a time, the island of Septorium and the island of TDF were one thing until a comet went through it and cracked TDF part away. Both islands are visible on the horizon from the farthest edge of each other. I like that part. A comet cracked it. TDF is a lot like PC, which is Progress City. If it wasn't a cultural center, but a fortified fortress instead, so it's nothing like PC. Its population, 60 to 65% Tellurian, maintaining the fort city and the mechanisms in it, with others being human commanders and elite Ascendant warriors. Since Prime human commanders are some of the best military strategists in all of IIsla, Ascendant are naturally skilled. It's Ascendants, by the way. Ascendant are naturally skilled combatants, and Tellurians have a mastery over engineering. You did get that part right. The Ascendants are naturally skilled combatants, and Tellurians are great engineers. They're hobbits. Keeping TDF well functional, this might be the best military combination, a combination of racial cooperation in IIsla. I like that. I like that. The fort is definitely, I think you understand that there's definitely, when we got different types of people working together, there's definitely problems. Just like the Discord server. The fort's built into four hard mountainous peaks. Ooh, very nice. With its armaments facing towards nearby. Not so nearby, actually. It's well beyond the horizon, but it's still the closest to another faction, Nova Beta territory. As you know, already know, since you clearly took a paper to point out our location on a makeshift map to know what is where. I totally did that. Starts writing vigorously. TDF is southwest of Plasmadian. Okay, and far up north of TDF is Fugocasto. The architecture of TDF is much sturdier, but not as grand and majestic as a PC. It does what it's designed to do, be a good navigation supply chain. Inner side has docks for taking in supply shipments that has streamlined high-speed railroads, delivering assorted items to their place. TDF is heavily shielded and features a variety of weapon system, high amounts of dual and quad shots, dual plasma batteries, and a wide chain of close-range shotguns. Cool idea, but it just seems to be an ordinary fortress. I mean, it's not an ordinary fortress, but it does seem to be a fortress. Doesn't seem to have any special things about it. I'm gonna give this one a 1. Yeah, I'm giving this one a 1. It is cool though. It is cool, but it just seems like a fort. Oh wait, you know what? There's the comet part. I'm giving you a 2 for that. That comet part just gave you an extra point. That comment part is probably my favorite part about this submission, is about the history of it. Cool, very nice. Next one is next one's the CRF, and I just looked at this and wow, okay. We're gonna be in a treat. And for whatever that is, I see. The CRF is prime military research base on an island that is as close to the Cortex as cutting technology allows. Okay. On the smaller side, it has a large underbelly with a single centralized mound and a small reinforced cottage, a massive telescope poking out below, almost blending with the forest point of the island. CRF is filled to the brim with sensitive equipment, measures the changes in the Cortex, and studies the lives and evolution of the creatures who live on or near the Cortex, like the Voltaic stingrays, the Gronin, and others. The facility occasionally sends unmanned drones with various equipment down to the areas near the Cortex to collect more detailed information, while not expecting the equipment to be recoverable after such expeditions. Reminds me of the spacecrafts we sent to Venus. Venus or Mercury. One of those two. Basically, we sent drones down there and no hope for return. Or I mean, we send drones and we send spaceships into the sun for testing. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, goodbye. You go into the sun, you send back all this data, but you are gone. Kind of reminds me of that, sending stuff down into the Cortex. It's not really recoverable. I'm assuming Nova has some sort of recoverable drone that they've come up with, but we'll see. Since the inception of the facility, Nova faction have stated several times they want to cooperate on the research. Of course, they want to cooperate, but due to tensions and complicated past, Prime has always denied these offerings. Maybe that past is a very interesting point of discussion as well. Possibly Nova wanting to hoard more research for themselves, or hoard some of the samples, or keep certain things under wraps. You never know. Or Prime doing the same thing. The research, but most likely Nova wants to hoard research. Nova facility is the research facility is constantly on the move and has a small military presence. Specialized islands carry supplies in and the research data out. It is said that the data is classified to the point where it has a safe lock mechanism, burning the data files in case of a breach. Cool. Some rumors exist that among other factions about the research of psionic entities in that facility, or the militarization of Voltaic stingrays. But Prime doesn't seem to give enough respect to answer those rumors. However, if those were to spread into Prime settlements, people would either think it's propaganda attempt done by other factions, or would consider that it's another thing the Prime Federation does to better the lives of its citizens. Right, because everything the Prime Federation does is for the betterment of the lives of its citizens. Absolutely. That's totally not Prime propaganda. Right? I mean, everything Prime does, it's for its citizens, and you better believe it. Or, I mean, who knows where people who don't believe that go. Due to the constant harassment by Nova, the current position, research topic, and results of the research from the CRF are classified. Next stream or the next stream, you might get 1,000 shards. I might have. I mean, I have a button on my stream deck that literally says rain, storm, and hurricane for giveaways, but I haven't written the code for it, so pressing it would literally do absolutely nothing. Right. Cortex Research Facility, I like you. I'm gonna give you a 3. I like you a lot. I like you a lot. Time to take a sip. We still have a long way to go. Very, very long. How long do I have to my next checkpoint? I put down 2 checkpoints. Just so I know, I put down 1 checkpoint for tonight. Oh, okay, we're almost halfway through. Actually, this is fairly doable tonight. Is that halfway through? That doesn't feel like halfway through. That might not be. I might have placed that checkpoint incorrectly. That does not feel halfway through. Someone who's more familiar with all of these Prime submissions, tell me if we're halfway through. Shard Rain when? I think I have some interesting ideas for Shard Rain. Of some very interesting ideas. Where were we? We're only two away from my halfway point. Which I don't think works. I really should have counted exactly where the halfway point was. Anyway, wouldn't Shard Rain hurt? Yeah, it's not. It's only called Rain, Storm, and Hurricane. It was supposed to be money. And so I've photoshopped thing of money like falling, but it's definitely not going to be called Rain. When you guys, yeah, it would definitely hurt the blocklings, and there may or may not be a reason why I made the currency into shards, because they're blocklings. Right, next one we have is the Wandering Market. The Wandering Market's a fully autonomous floating market. Love that idea. That floats seemingly at random throughout IIsla territories. There's 2 eyes anyway. The route of the floating market's usually announced via media channels, so it's never a secret. Okay, so Prime Strike Nova? Not quite sure. The Wandering Market's a relic from the times of the Great Union, thus no one remembers how it was originally formed. Historians speculate it was a spontaneous event when the tribes were starting to get closer together and improve relationship. Some believe it even predates TGU, which is the TGU. It's the TGU. Of course I know what it means. I don't forget anything. Either way, as it is nowadays, it's one of the most it is the most bustling place in all of IIsla. In a more peaceful time, each faction had its presence in TWM, the Wandering Market, and even though tensions have risen over the past years, it still remains a non-aggression zone. That's believable. A traveler approaching the island will be sent out a radio signal, asking of their intent and telling them the latest relevant news. The market consists of many islands that serves as docks of various types. Some are permanent big docks that hold islands on a set powerful cable, some have magnetizing arms holding islands in place, some are small makeshift docks, and some have hangars for transport for creatures like trawlers. That's right, trawlers are those things that you can ride on, I assume. People that run TWM make a living off the small fees they take from the traders that come here. Some economists estimate that TWM is almost as rich as some of the major Prime cities. Nobody truly owns TWM. That was my question, is who owns it nowadays, and nobody strictly upholds the rules. Thus, you can find all sorts of people in there, from traders making honest profits to shady figures, and spies to military agents, black market traders, even pirates and cutthroats offering their services. Ooh, this sounds like, and I'm gonna finish reading it before I tell what it sounds like. Legend says TWM does have an owner rumored to be some mysterious woman, but even the great intelligence of Prime is unable to this day identify or even prove her existence. The market does have some defenses in protecting its visitors from various creatures. Of course, no man would be so insane as to attack it. I think pirates would be the only people who would want to raid TWM. In fact, it would be cool. It would be cool if there was some major pirate attack in which I mean, at that point, if there's pirates and you have Prime striking Nova, the immediate threat are the pirates. That there could be some interesting stories that come out of there, with a bunch of them having to overcome the differences. I don't know, that could be a fun story. It could be a fun short story if we ever decide to do another short story one. Right. What I was gonna say is this kind of sounds like you know, you've got. I'm gonna give points wise. I'm giving this one a 3. I love the idea of the Wandering Market. It kind of sounds like one of those islands sitting, you know, like with all the in the pirate movies, like Pirates of the Caribbean. You've got like the pirates and they visit an island and there's like a market shop and a bunch of stuff. It kind of sounds like one of those where there's a bunch of traders. Pretty much it's just a trading island where, you know, people can sell their goods and stuff. But it's no one really owns it. It's kind of just like there. Yeah, I like it. I like this a lot. Wandering Market. Probably definitely up there with my favorite submissions as well. Okay, we've got the Go Over the Hill with your skivvies, Chock-a-Blockhead, your Skylarkin Lubber, Seagull Technicians. Whatever that's supposed to be. Or more commonly known as the Skylander Anchor. Ooh, Skylander. No, we don't like Skylanders, but sure, Skylander. Actually, Skylander's a really cool name, though. Anyway, the Skylander Anchor is located on the opposite side of Port Beacon. My main concern is what on earth is a Skylander Anchor, what is it anchoring, and why does that thing need an anchor? It's basically an attraction town built by human sailors and Tolarian builders to get the sweet cache of adventurous descendants who want to take part in the Eagle Hunt. Wait, what? Eagle Hunt? What's that got to do? Okay. The architecture can be described as a human attempt doing Ascendant style. Sleek. I love that. I love that. That's hilarious. The sleek design with brownish colors going to blue-gray. Not quite a perfect imitation of Ascendant architecture. Yeah. When arriving at SA, you're greeted with 2 imposing metal statues of shrieking eagles. You can go inside the statues to have an eagle view, haha, very funny. Or it can be used for the dock's defense. Due to, however, them being hollow, they aren't as heavy to tilt structures under them. Going through the dock, you see many shops for supplies and souvenirs, both for incoming and leaving tourists. I'm not assuming tourism is very popular in IIsla. I'm assuming only, I think IIsla's in the early phases of development where people aren't so rich. Like, I assume even in the medieval times, I don't think people just toured around for fun. Tourism was really a thing for the rich, and someone check me up on that, because I'm really interested, because I think tourism's popped up a couple times where this place is a popular tourist spot. And I don't think actually tourists would exist in such an early, I mean, it's an advanced civilization, but I don't think it's caught up to the point where we have enough rich people, or enough people who are able to tour around like so. Will there be an art challenge? Not for this type. There will be an art challenge eventually. I mean, I can't avoid art forever. Yeah, but not for this one. Right. The docks lead you up and down, up into town via 2 sideways on each side, and the small shops keep trying to rip hapless tourists of their cash. As you come out of this natural market, you see a road to the town, and the nature side of it, forests and small lakes where you find ebers, flutes, axois, swirl-ups, and if you venture deep enough, you find something much bigger. Ooh. I don't think you can get as big. I don't think you'll find a problem in there, but yeah, we still need to rename the problem. It's like the 3rd time I'm saying it, or 4th time. After a good hunt, you can rest there in the Vaporium baths. Ooh, Vaporium? Isn't that a Pokemon? Built near the lakes. Going by the road, you see a wall with record hunt exhibits like metal wings of the eagles or a head of a Koak. At the end of the road, there's the city itself with a gorgeous layered wall surrounding it. The city has many attractions. One of such, I'm running out of characters to tell of, so here's only one, is the Hanging Park, grand entrance of tall tree rows, neatly cut bushes on the ground. Further up you go on glass layers, from which visitors can witness flowing vines and beautiful vegetation going up and down the other layers. Cool. Very cool. And yeah, that's cool. Where was I? I just lost myself again. Yeah. Even though I still didn't get an answer to why it was called an anchor, because usually I think anchors, holding things like in place. I was thinking it was like a giant dock or some sort of navigation tool, like the North Pole. They kind of all agreed that this was the North Pole or something. no, you didn't. This one had a limit because it's a lot of reading. And because I can't just flip through art submissions, I actually have to read every single one of these out loud, which does take a toll on my voice. So for these writing ones, we do have a limit per person, just to keep you from writing entire books in which it would take years to read, because what one person can do in like 2 days, and you multiply that by 40 people, all of a sudden that's 80 days worth of reading. Yeah. Going through the doc, you see many. Oh, I've already read all this. Yeah, I like it. Still not quite sure why it's called a Skylander Anchor, other than, you know, a place where they hunt the Screeching Eagles. I'm gonna give this one a 1. Because, yeah. Next one we have, and my voice is already starting to die just in this stream. So I think, undoubtedly, we're going to have another stream tomorrow. And maybe what I'll do is I have a couple tricks up my sleeve so I can get through all of them without having to kill my voice. But certainly my voice is already giving out. Now, I've only been going for an hour, but I've been talking quite a bit, and I've been talking quite loudly as well. I think I'll get through as many of these as I can. Oh wow, actually that was quite a bit. I thought I was only 2 submissions away. I'm like 4 or 5 submissions away from my halfway checkpoint. I think I'll go a little bit past that halfway checkpoint, and then we'll have to do another one. We'll have to do another one, which, yeah, I was in my mind, I was mentally ready to go for it, but my voice is saying, nope, J-Wigs, you are not gonna do this. You cannot do this. And I do want to be able to talk normally tomorrow as well. Need to take another sip. But before my voice gives out, let's keep going. The Port Beacon, TPB, the Port Beacon, okay, I see, YAR. TPB is the northernmost settlement of the Prime Capital Zone. My voice is already giving out. Maybe, I think I'm just gonna be able to go directly to the checkpoint, and then I think I'll be having to call it a stream. A town of Sky Sailor that was a long time was the final frontier of Prime territories. Of course, the sailors knew of the territories that lie beyond. It wasn't just an empty void out there. After all, the Novan Exiles went roughly in the northeast direction. The Prime knew that there's land. I'm more interested in the Novan Exiles now. Prime knew that there's a land between the Alpha Novan territory and TBB, and they charted most of it. Generally, it was all good and well, ready for the taking, aside from a small little problem. It was full of Shrieking Eagles. That's a small little problem. Thus, for a long time, TBB was the last settlement to the north until finally Prime Fed managed to set foot on the northern side of claiming that territory. The population of TBB is quite balanced with no dominant race. Historically, it's just north of the Septorium, so that's why you have Tellurians there. Being the frontier for the brave explorers, it attracted adventurous ascendants, as well as some of the other families. Of course, its entrepreneurial strategic spirit of the Prime humans led to a well-established human presence. Unlike most of its other ports, it's not as grand and doesn't have a massive trade route. It does have a few island building, reconstructing docks, and of course, the Great Beacon that once lit the edge of the Prime territories, giving the city its name, but it's rarely lit nowadays. Town didn't fell into a disarray, on the contrary, it's quite popular. It's just too hard to compete with the grandeur neighbors, like the City of Grandeur, or the Progress City, the technologically advanced city, or the capital city, which is called, oh, let's see if I can remember, which is called Zordium? Oh dear, I'm already having trouble remembering. Right. Due to its population, the port architecture is some of the most chaotic in all of the Prime, featuring styles of all different races blended together, some nicely, sometimes not so much. Nowadays, the port serves as the main harbor on a road to the attraction of a special kind of tourists, the ones that dare challenge life itself, where the route leads to the northernmost pocket of Prime territory, now notorious for its eagle hunting resorts. Prime really likes to hunt their eagles, which I'm actually quite surprised they're so into eagle hunting, and how eagle hunting is such a sport for them. Because you have the Skyland Anchor, right? Skylander Anchor, right? This thing, Skylander Anchor. And you've also got the ports. There's quite a number of places where you're hunting screaming eagles, screeching eagles, screeching eagles or screaming, whatever. The loud, noisy eagles. I'm gonna give this one a 1. Not particularly, yeah, it's not particularly stand out to me, not like some of the other ones. There's some really good other ones, like the poem. maybe take a 5-minute break or so it's easier. I feel like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more to get through. I don't think I'm going to be taking a break. I think we'll just push through for a couple more minutes and take another sip of water. You know what you can probably do is you can clock back in to the beginning of the stream and see how different my voice is, because I can feel it being different already. All right, not so much more further to go. The screen breaking heights. I'm assuming this has got something to do with screeching eagles again. Prime and their screeching, screaming. Same thing. Located south of the Skylander anchor, the screen breaking heights has become one of the most dangerous and controversial and extreme hunting resorts in all Prime territory. Prime and their hunting of the eagles. I bet Nova has something to say about that. Or Strike maybe. This place is made up of a group of medium to small islands, almost like an archipelago. Islands have cliff-like formations, high trees, and are filled with a wide variety of creatures, although shrieking eagles are the most sought-after ones. The confrontation between the shrieking eagles, and the screams of unfortunate hunters is what gave the place its name. I guess nothing pumps adrenaline in the body like being hunted by the apex predator in all of IIsla. Right? I mean, maybe that's why Prime likes hunting them so much. The cliffs are an ideal location for the eagles to sit at and watch for prey. They fly up high from the cliffs and dive down into the paralyzed prey from the sky. There are many openings in the forest where the screeching eagles can find prey. The same openings are also used by the hunters. There are multiple shops of a couple of kilometers away from the screen-breaking heights, as well as in Skylander Anchor itself. Excuse me. These shops provide a great deal of resources used in hunting, as well as a few good tips. Ooh, my microphone. Do not hit my microphone. This is the hunt that tests the grit and sometimes ends the lives of the hunters themselves. The Skylander Heights have become popular lately because a mount of shrieking eagle wings have become a symbol of an expert professional hunter. On the other hand, there's a distinct controversy on a rise within circles of Prime Federation population. For though being an extreme and dangerous blood-boiling hunting sport, here we go, addressing some of the more ethical issues, it does a significant number on the eagle population. And while nowhere being the level of endangered, the people opposing the eagle hunting demand strict regulation to be put into place. I agree. Something like 6-hour delay between an individual hunt. Insane, isn't it? Not quite insane, but I can see for the people who love hunting, a delay of 6 hours would be incredible. The most renowned hunter of this place, without a doubt, is Hanty Bakor, an absolute legend, a man who proposed the very possibility of the eagle hunt and proved it himself. Ah, I see. Thus, to him, Prime is grateful as a brave explorer, and sport resulted in the chain of events leading to his control of the region. Very cool. I assume, yeah, with all of the love Prime have for their screeching eagles and love hunting them, they most definitely have eagle hunting championships, as Dr. Victor has pointed out. I mean, most certainly, if you have such an extreme sport, you definitely have championships and competitions, like 24 hours, who can hunt the most screeching eagles? Certainly. Certainly. Screen Breaking Heights, I'm giving this one a 1, similar to the Skylander Anchor. Actually, you know what, I'm giving this one a 2. I like the Screen Breaking Heights as well. It does, the submission does talk about some of the ethics behind hunting, about this hunting of the Screech Breaking Eagles. Yes, I'll see the reason later. I hope I see the reason. Right, next we have Prime Research Island, which this is Nadru Tagu. I can't exactly. Yeah, that's Nadru Tagu. That's very much. Even though, shouldn't that be a 6 instead of a 9? Nadru Tagu. Top secret log. A lonesome research base drifting around IIsla has been spotted. There's almost no vegetation on or near its surface. A few bushes and rocks. Other than that, it's empty. I remember the few bushes and rocks. Other than that, it's empty. Some black and metallic, presumably antennas, can be observed from the island's bottom, poking out from previous places. These exact measurements are hard to grasp, but there have been sightings of similar islands reported in the past. The island's current position is recorded in the records as nowhere, but no more. I'll be placing a tracking device on this island. I hope this will be enough to get me a promotion already. It is said that the only one living on this barren, lonely island is a researcher by the name of Nod. Hey, what are you doing? Recording my handout? There's no such thing. Go back to your own business before I feed you to Bob. End of log. I see it. This is a funny one. This is a funny one. I'm giving this one a 1. Unfortunately, it doesn't exactly build on the entire story of Nadru Tegu. 9 is more like a G than a 6. Okay. I guess it depends on how. It depends. I'm thinking a capital. Because in my whole J-Wigs, I always do my G's as 6s, just because it's a capital G. But I guess a small G would definitely be more of a 9 as well. Yeah, I'm giving this one a 1 because it doesn't exactly build on the Nadru Tegu story as much as it could have. But yes, it's definitely earned a point. So far, I have not given out penalties. I do have a region for penalties, but so far nobody has gotten a penalty. Which is actually, I mean, all these submissions haven't really deserved a penalty. Even though I definitely know there's some coming up that get penalties, because I've read them, and I'm very much not quite. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or looking forward to not giving it. Anyway, we'll find out. Right, we've got 2 last ones before we even. Is that really half? Is that really half? I think that's about half. Right, we have the Looncat Eber Factory Terrarium, also known as Left. Really, you guys try way too hard to make it actually spell a word. It's funny. Left is located on. I mean, it's as if you're writing. If you write it out in a sentence, you're eventually going to get something that sounds absolutely ridiculous to someone who has no idea that Left stands for the Looncat Eber Factory Terrarium. I need a sip of water. Left is located to the left of Plasmadion, to the left of Left. Oh no, this is exactly what I'm talking about. To the left of Left is MM. What was MM? I don't remember MM. Up north is TGL, which I'm barely remembering TGL now. What's TGL? And down south is the Wilnos flow. Okay, which is going to be TWF. Oh my goodness. You know, of course, what all this means, and we did this joke once already. Not really. We had some places left to submit, but there are no more submissions per person left. Left consists of 3 medium islands that hold massive Eber Looncat factories, which are the Elves. The first island is to the right side of... Oh dear. The first island is to the right side of the left. Closest to Plasmadion is so far enough not to see each other from their respective edges. The right island of Left is where the first elf was set up by... Oh no. Oh no, what is this? The right island of the Left is where the first elf was set up, and this elf is by far the most advanced of them all. Okay, got it. While it incorporates perfectly with the surrounding area, it has several glass facilities planted with looncat Ebers, making their net hives spanning from tree to tree. Wildlife has been gated for this elf for so long that local flutes don't even try to come close. In the middle of this island has a bridge to the right one that connects to the left side. Okay, this sentence here is an absolute nightmare. The middle island has a bridge to the right one that connects the left side of the right one to the right side of the middle one. What is that sentence supposed to be? The elf there was built much later, but it's biggest of them all. This elf, I gotta remind myself, elf stands for the Eber Looncat Factory. Individually makes the most Eber production in the entire Prime Fed, which I thought this was the... I thought the Plasmadion Lakes made the most. Even more than this. I thought so. I'm not exactly sure. It specializes exclusively on Alarum wine. Ooh, very cool. The buildings here are more sturdy and more concrete as compared to the right left. At this point, this is a massive joke and it's funny. The only island that's left to discuss on the left is the left island. Oh dear. The one that's furthest to the west. The newest expansion of Left constructed because Prime Fed territory has been increasing over the past decades. As such, this elf is the most technologically advanced, but also the most harassed by local wildlife. And unlike the other 2 elves, this one has different types of Ebers. Although the quality of Left produce isn't as good as that of Player, that's right, Player, the Plasmadion Lakes. It's still quite good and fills the gap where there's no more local Alarum left after the festival. Is this right, left, up, down, horizontal? Exactly. That's my question. Exactly. They rival each other, so they both might be saying they make the most. That's also true. They both might be making the most. It is both Prime, though, so one of them has to make more, but I guess you can't really coordinate which one's actually... They're both making a lot of Alarum. Um, okay. One part of me wants to give this a 1 for the joke factor. Another part of me thinks it's really funny. I should give it a 3 for the joke factor. And another part of me says, ignore the jokes, grade it for what it is, or judge it for what it is, it's a 2. So really, I have no idea what this is. But if I take everything into account, the average is a 2. So I'm gonna give this one a 2. So it has a reason to be a 1, a 2, and a 3. And because 2 is in the middle, I'm giving it a 2. Because it's, you know, the hilarity from the joke cancels out the awfulness of this joke. And this sentence right here is a hilarious left, right, middle sentence. Yes. Okay, well, very funny. Very, very funny. Next, we have something that looks less funny, which is the SPG. While strike energy production... Ooh, wait, this is strike... Wait, strike? What? Oh, this is talking about strike. It's talking about strike before, just as, you know, preface. While strike energy production consists mostly of thermal power plants, up to 60% of the energy production. Okay, and Nova chose the low efficiency solar plants. Oh, they did? Okay, Prime's just saying it as it is. It's like, Nova, you make solar plants. Okay. Prime went in a different direction, the direction of thorium-based nuclear power plants. Yes, which they call SPG. Read about this. Yes, I do. I mean, I watched a senior thesis about this, about how thorium is pretty much an incredibly, it's got low, low waste, or it's not, is it not radioactive waste? Basically, there's a bunch of good stuff about using thorium. Right, thorium-232 is a primordial nuclide, having existed in its current form for over 10 billion years, which is forged from the cores of dying stars through the rapid neutron capture process and scattered throughout the galaxy by supernova and neutron star mergers. As energy production was developing, Prime engineers had to figure out the optimal solution for expanding Prime territories of the Prime Fed. Looking at the options they had, they realized that the amount of energy the population needs, the optimal way of energy production would be like it is in real life, nuclear. It would produce cheap, safe, clean energy unless it melts down. And, you know, unless a problem comes out and attacks a nuclear facility out of nowhere. Like, IIsla is literally a breeding ground of disaster thanks to you all. I mean, even in the previous ones, there's been a couple of submissions which are like, there's a giant fog, which I remember. I don't know, there's probably some other stuff. IIsla is a lot more, I guess IIsla has its own special natural, we don't have earthquakes, and we don't have tsunamis. But anything wind related is a problem. So hurricanes, tornadoes, pretty much all the natural disasters are wind related. But yeah, so I assume nuclear reactors would be very, very dangerous as well. Probably just as dangerous as they are in real life. Like Japan, we had meltdowns a couple years ago, and we had Chernobyl as well. Chernobyl was not fun. Not like I was ever alive, and I wouldn't know because I wasn't there. But you know, I read, so didn't sound fun. No one wants to kind of be there. Right. Yeah, I know. Whoops, forgot the cryo fluid. There goes an entire island. And I guess it's isolated enough. I guess nuclear reactors are isolated enough to where you could stick them in the middle of nowhere, and if they melted down, you don't need to put them in the middle of a civilian, anywhere near your civilian population. But okay, I'm just gonna continue reading this before continuing to hypothesize on things that probably don't matter anyway. It would produce cheap, safe, clean energy as opposed to alternatives. Even in the case of a catastrophe, it would pale in comparison to the amount of fossil fuel needed to be burnt in order to achieve the same production capacity as toxic waste for the huge fields of solar panels. The only question was left to decide was whether to use the easily weaponizable uranium or a much cleaner, energy efficient alternative, thorium. And that's the reason we chose uranium, is because it's easily weaponizable instead of thorium, which was unlike the people of Earth, Prime made the right choice. I love that you're incorporating history back into this, like our history as well, Earth history. And very, very, even though I'm not exactly sure, I guess when making the decision, Prime Federation, time of peace, there's no reason to create nuclear weapons. Nova possibly might wanted to have used uranium. If anything, Nova probably would have wanted to use uranium, because nuclear weapons, fun stuff. But thorium sounds something very, very much like what the Prime would do. They're very idealist in that, there's no way anyone in their right mind would want to have a nuclear weapon, right, Nova? right? Anyway, there are many types of nuclear reactors. Here's an example. The light water reactor uses both coolant and a neutron moderator. Furthermore, a solid form of fissile elements is used as fuel. The thorium's transmuted. This is basically explaining how the thorium reactor works. Cool. Thorium is transmuted into the fissile uranium isotope, which kicks in chain reaction. The neutrons are slowed in recapturing, heating the water up to 300 degrees Celsius, which then heats up the working body, another water in boiler, which then works in the steam turbine. Most of these Prime Federation are powered by those complex chain of hitting the character limit here. I see. Got it. And then, quoting from Wikipedia, because you kind of need to in order to understand how thorium nuclear reactor works. But yes, I liked it. In fact, I like it a lot. I'm giving this a 3. You did a great job at incorporating the current history and comparing, what we might have done and what we could have done. Your weapons are noodles. Lynn is Nova, I believe. I can't exactly remember every single, but yeah, Nova's got some questionable weapons as well. I absolutely love this. I've given this one 3 points. That's going to do it for now. My voice is already giving out. I really thought my voice could last longer. Maybe this is because of the previous stream as well, and I've been talking a lot. I will definitely be drinking honey water. I believe we do have some honey in the fridge. Making sure I will have enough juice to be able to go for. I think this is definitely reasonable to finish the rest of them. In the next stream. I think we did quite a bit of them. I think we got through quite a bit of them, and there were a lot of submissions to this. I am thoroughly enjoying reading this one. I think we'll do tomorrow. I think we're just going to do tomorrow at the same time, maybe a little bit later. But that has been it from me. Let me switch over. Yeah, you know what? That's been it from me. Thank you for your submissions. I will catch you all in the next stream. Looking forward to that. Also, stay tuned in the faction chats. There might be something special popping up. Something fun, something not exactly to do with the faction wars, but there might be something special popping up in the next few hours. I'll catch you all in the next one. The shop's going to be open for a couple more minutes. Goodbye.
me too much, now I'm swallowed. Now I'm a fool while you're breaking rules. Dangerous path that I follow. Oh, go on, just do what you do.